Pratishthan. I take this opportunity to welcome everyone present here for our inaugural function of Sanskrutotsava. We will know as we move ahead about the program. At the outset, this is a celebration, and Indians can rarely stop with a celebration of just one day. So this is an extended celebration that we have for 30 days, and we will be having eminent people speaking to all of us in this session on Sanskrutotsava. So with this little small little welcome, let us do our Deepa Prajwalanam and take this ahead. So,
Ruchita madam,
yes,
will you please raise your audio?
still louder? Okay, I will do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
louder.
Okay, right. Just a moment. Yeah. Okay, one. So I request we have with us Shri Rajesh Ayerji, and I request him to do the Veda Ghosha as we light the symbolic lamp. So we do the Deepa Prajwalan, and I request him to please start the Deepa Ghosha.
उद्दीप्य स्वजातवेदोपघ्नन्निरृतिं मम पशुभिश्च मह्यमावह जीवनं च दिशो दिशा मानो हि गुंसि जातवेदो गामश्वं पुरुषं जगते अबिभ्रतघ्न आगहि श्रिया मा परिपातय ॐ अग्निमीळे पुरोहितं यज्ञस्य देवमृत्विजम् होतारं रत्नधातमम् इषे त्वोर्जे त्वा पायवस्तोपायवस्त देवो वस्सविता प्रार्पयतु श्रेष्ठतमाय कर्मणे अग्न आयाहि वीतये गृणानो हव्यतातये निहोता सत्सि बर्हिषि शन्नो देवीरविष्टय आपो भवन्तु पीतये शय्योरभिस्रवन्तु नः ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मावादिशम् ऋतपवादिशम् सत्यपवादिशम् तन्मामावीत् तद्वक्तारमावीत् आवीन्माम् आवीद्वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नमो वाचे याचोदिता याचानुदिता तस्यै वाचे नमो नमो वाचे नमो वाचस्पतये नमर्षिभ्यो मन्त्रकृद्भ्यो मन्त्रपतिभ्यो वामामृषयो मन्त्रकृतो मन्त्रपतयः परादुर्माहमृषे मन्त्रकृतो मन्त्रपतिं परादां वैश्वदेवी वाचमुद्यासकं शिवामतस्ताञ्जुष्टा देवेभ्यः शर्म मेद्यौ शर्म पृथिवी शर्म विश्वमिदं जगत् शर्म चन्द्रश्च सूर्यश्च शर्म ब्रह्म प्रजापति भूतं वदिष्ये भुवनं वदिष्ये तेजो वदिष्ये यशो वदिष्ये तपो वदिष्ये ब्रह्म वदिष्ये सत्यं वदिष्ये तस्मादहमिदमुपस्तरणम् उपस्कृणमुपस्तरणं मे प्रजायै पशूनां भूयादुपस्तरणमहं प्रजायै पशूनां भूयासं प्राणापानौ मृत्योर्मापातं प्राणापानौ मधुमनिष्ये मधुजनिष्ये मधुवक्ष्यामि मधुवदिष्यामि मधुमतीं देवेभ्यो वाचमुद्यासकं शुश्रूषेण्य मनुष्येभ्यस्तं मा देवा अवन्तु शोभायै पितरोऽनुमदन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः तच्छयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वञ्जिगातु भेषजम् षण्णो अस्तु द्विपदे षञ्चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्ता साग्निना शान्ता सा मे शान्ता शुचगं शमयतु अंतरिक्षगं शान्तं तद्वायुना शान्तं तन्शान्तगं शुचगं शमयतु यौ शान्ता सादित्येन शान्ता सा मे शान्ता शुचगं शमयतु पृथिवी शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगं शान्तिर्द्यौ शान्तिर्दिशः शान्तिरवान्तरदिशा शान्तिरग्निः शान्तिर्वायुः शान्तिरादित्यः शान्तिश्चन्द्रमा शान्तिर्नक्षत्राणि शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिर्वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्गौः शान्तिरजा शान्तिरश्वः शान्तिः पुरुषः शान्तिः ब्रह्म शान्तिर्ब्राह्मण शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति शान्तिर्मे अस्तु शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ
Shri Rajesh Iyer ji. Rajesh Iyer ji is a chemical engineer and he works in a multinational company managing sales and marketing for APAC region. And since the last 17 years, he's been doing Vedic chanting and imparting the knowledge of this through the institution, which is Sri Guruji Art Academy. And he learns Advaita Vedanta from Pujya Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati and Pujya Swami Omkarananda Saraswati. So thank you so much, Rajesh ji, who hails from Thane, for this wonderful Veda Gosha. Dhanyawada. So, Dhanyawad. So taking this further, I officially welcome everybody to this beautiful event. The official welcome address will be given by the president of Sanskriti Samvardhan and Sanshodhan Pratishthan, that is Shri Dilip Karambelkar ji. Dilip Karambelkar ji is the chief editor of Saptahik Vivek, and in addition, he is the chief editor of all our publications and the publications for Saptahik Vivek, Cheshta Parva, and all such which are housed under Vivek Samuha. He is additionally the founder member of Policy Advocacy Research Center and the president of SSASP, as we call it. I request Philip Karambelkar ji to please welcome everybody and give the inaugural address. Thank you.
वेलकम टू एवरीबॉडी. पवित्र वेद घोष के पार्श्वभूमि पर हम वी आर स्टार्टिंग अवर प्रोग्राम दिस प्रोग्राम नाउ. Respected Dr. Sampadananda Mishra, Director Sri Aurobindo Foundation for Indian Culture, Pondicherry, Acharya Vidya Bhaskar, Head of Sanskrit Academy, Sarvamangal Foundation, UK and Switzerland, Dr. Laura Yerekeshava, Deputy Director, Institute of Oriental Studies, UNESCO, Chair Coordinator, Kazakhstan, Dr. Rajashekaran Pillai, Vice Chancellor of Somaiya Vidyavihar University and Provost of Somaiya Vidyavihar, Mumbai, Chancellor of ICFAI University, Tripura, Professor Gopabandhu Mishra, Vice Chancellor, Sri Somnath Sanskrit University, Gujarat, Professor Srinivas Varkhedi, Vice Chancellor, Kavikuluru Kalidas Sanskrit University, Nagpur, all invited guests who hold a special position in their social and professional field, and in the audience, and Vivek Samuh team that are online, I warmly greet you. Welcome. It is my privilege to introduce Vivek Samuh to you. Vivek Samuh was established with the objective of bringing about social change through media. It started as a Vivek Marathi Weekly way back in 1948. During the long journey of 70 years, it has undertaken and successfully carried out various projects of national, social, and cultural significance. It publishes various periodicals like Marathi Vivek, Hindi Vivek, Shikshan Vivek, Cheshta Parva, and Vaidya. In addition to this, several projects of social, academic, and intellectual excellence like PARC, Policy Advocacy Research Center, SPARC, Social Practices and Research Center, VCIR, Vivek Center for Interdisciplinary Research, Adhunik Maharashtrachi Daran Silpakar Charitra Code are being carried out through its various platforms like Vivek Vaspit, Vivek Multivision Foundation, etc. In recent times, Vivek Samuh has published a volume of research articles on socio-economic dynamics of Indian history in collaboration of Gokhale Institute of Economics and Politics, Pune, and Bombay Stock Exchange. It outlines socio-economic history of India right from the pre-Harappan period till date. This successful collaborative venture inspired us to initiate a mega project entitled Relevance Studies in Indian History through VCIR, Vivek Center for Interdisciplinary Research. The project aimed at bringing up a unique and innovative facet of comprehensive Indian history in various chronological segments through an extensive and meticulous research. This will enable Indians to understand their past and resultant present in the right perspective. This need has arisen as over the centuries, certain aspects of the history have been glorified, certain negated, and yet many projected incorrectly. Sanskrit Samvardhana and Sanshothan Pratishthan, SAS, has been established with the view of showcasing the relevance of Indian culture in present times through lecture, discourse, courses, seminars, conferences, research projects, study tours, cultural events, and creative activities. These would eventually lead to a comparative studies between world culture. Dr. Kala Acharya will speak about this in more detail. These projects will be undertaken as a joint and cohesive effort by various research institutions and organizations working across the nation, creating a unique partnership among the institutions, organizations, and scholars. Through this venture, we will be able to build a sustainable network of scholars and scholarly institutions. Media, as we see presently, is criticized on account of its negative approach, creating skepticism in social life. This has resulted in creating an impression that there seems to be nothing good in the society. Hence, Vivek Samuh, as a media institution, takes the responsibility of communicating the positive aspects to the people. It also condemns the event that harm the society through constructive criticism. For this, Vivek Samuh has become a platform that establishes a network with individuals and institutions and creating a positive image of India and Indians. Thus, it initiates a social shift towards a positive social thinking process. While this journey is difficult and filled with challenges, we are certain that through such activities and projects we will reach the goal. On behalf of Vivek Samu, I thank you all present here for having taken out time from their busy on and offline schedule and also for their patient listening. Thank you. Ruchita, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We now will get to know more about what Sanskriti Samvardhan and Sanshodhan Pratishthan is through our Executive President, Dr. Kala Acharya Madam. Dr. Kala Acharya Madam really needs no introduction because she is a very known personality in this field, and it is actually our privilege to have her as our Executive President. Yet, for all of us to know that she has been the former director of KJ Somaya Bharatiya Samskriti Peetham for several years, over 3 decades, and with such a great history of academics behind her, it is but natural that she has been awarded several times by several prestigious awards. She has several books and publications to her repute, and there is much that can be said, but just to keep everything short so that we have more time for all the discourses to follow, I welcome Dr. Kala Acharya, Executive President, to please speak about Sanskriti Samvardhan and Sanshodhan Pratishthan. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Honorable dignitaries and friends, Indians take pride in their age-old culture. This has a valid reason, as the Rigveda proclaims, Sa Prathama Sanskriti Vishwavara. It is the foremost culture. There are a number of institutes, organizations, and departments of prestigious universities which have immensely contributed to studies in Indian culture and Sanskrit, the language in which the treasure of the Sanskriti is nurtured. As such, a question may naturally arise, why one more institute? There emerges one more institute, Sanskriti Samvardhan Sanshodhan Pratishthan, because of the vast gamut of dimensions that the glorious Indian culture has manifested from time to time. There is always a need to unearth the unexplored areas. World is changing fast. Kala, time in which everything comes into existence, and desha, place where things take place, determine the priorities of human world. Contemporary world demands ancient wisdom to be presented with a modern, rational and scientific outlook. For example, the abundant Niti texts on polity such as Shukra Niti speak about administration and governance. They highlight resources for state revenues and set norms for tax collection. These norms and methods, if applied prudently, can rejuvenate our economy. Spiritual foundation is a distinct feature of Indian culture. It generates a system of sublime values. Besides many other values, our scriptures speak of sharing. For example, Rigveda, it says, Kevalagho bhavati kevaladi. One who eats alone partakes sin. In the light of value of sharing, the surplus that individuals, families, communities, organizations, states, nations have ought to be given for the welfare of the needy. We proclaim Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The entire earth is one family. Then it is our responsibility to work for the betterment of the entire world, whole world, holistically by sharing our resources, material and intellectual as well. Indian wisdom speaks about Shakti, power of knowledge, Jnana Shakti, willpower, Ichha Shakti, and power of action, Kriya Shakti. The power of application of knowledge, Kriya Shakti, has to be accelerated to transform the ancient wisdom into action. Our institute will make genuine and sincere efforts in this direction to make the world a beautiful, harmonious, and resourceful place to live in. Today, no institute can afford to work in isolation. What SASPA will do through its research will make a difference. It will, from various universities and social organizations, bring together renowned scholars to work together as pilgrims aspiring for taking the glory of Indian culture on the global horizon with its spiritual, political, economic, and social dimension. It will be a collective, hence pioneering venture in its own way, promising you all to bring this dream to reality in near future. I take your leave for this moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for laying down the foundation of what we stand for. Like ma'am very rightly said, that we cannot work in isolation, and obviously we also need the goodwill of a lot number of people, all those who we associate with. I request uh, our Vice Chancellor of Somaya Vidya Vihar University and Provost Somaya Vidya Vihar, the Chancellor also of ICFAI University Tripura, Dr. Rajashekharan Pillai, to kindly bless our endeavor and the further the future of this institution. So over to our Dr. Rajashekharan Pillai ji.
Thank you very much. Pranam, Namaskaram to all the dignitaries and scholars. May I also wish you the very best and my prayers on the occasion of the Shravana Purnima, which is a very important day in the cultural civilization of this Indian race. Let me wish you also the very best on the Raksha Bandhan, which is also being observed today. I'm extremely glad that Sri Dilip Karamgekar ji and Professor Kala Acharya and the board of Vivek Samooh have invited me to participate in this very important event, which is for the promotion, sustenance, and tradition of Sanskrit, which is the symbol of our glorious civilization. It is the DNA of our civilization. It is the language which embodied the genius and wisdom of Indian race. The rudiments of most of the sciences, Shastras, and technologies are found in the Vedas, and in a much more developed and understandable form in the Vedangas and Upanishads. Sanskrit is the mother of or foster mother of languages and literatures in India. It is probably the most ancient language in the Indo-European languages. It knits together the various provinces of India and in the various languages of India in a cultural bond. It can be said with confidence that almost every branch of learning, every branch of knowledge that has developed in this nation has sprung only from this magnificent language. I take this opportunity to congratulate and appreciate the efforts taken by Vivek Samooh through its various initiatives and activities, whether it be publications, seminar, conferences, to promote the language, its heritage, and also the socio-economic organization and socio-economic impact of Sanskrit language. This is something which is probably overlooked by many. There is a feeling that Sanskrit is only a Deva Bhasha, or it is for only for the relating with religious things and all that. It is not at all like that. If you just look at the socio-economic organization, socio-economic history of this country, this Bharat, you can see that every person who is working, every person who is engaged professionally, every person who is promoting the life and life management systems through generations. They have studied, they have probably they have learned from a guru many of the things which are necessary to maintain the social network of such a big country. And this is probably through after colonialism and all that, these things are separately interpreted, and probably this lack of proper understanding of this magnanimous and universal nature of Sanskrit, probably people were trying to get some sort of a divisive attempt to separate the socio-economic aspects of this language with the divine spirit and divine importance of the language. But as Professor Kalacharya rightly mentioned, it is very important that we should look at the tradition and culture, tradition and modernity. And when it comes to the tradition and modernity, you can also see that Sanskrit is equally and more prominently looking at the modern languages, not only modern Indian languages. It is probably paving the way for understanding Sanskrit, maybe for developing a much better, probably the best computer language in the years to come. These are all things happening. So when it comes to promotion of such things, it is very important that institutions of this kind, Vivek Samooh, which is functioning in one way or other during the last 7 decades, has been doing excellent work. Let me congratulate each and every one of you for the activities which you are doing. So when we just see this, that everyone knows that Sanskrit is a symbol of our culture and civilization. It is also, but this literature does not give us the complete picture of the concepts and ideas that gave the direction and form to the socio-economic organizations in this country for centuries, whether it be town planning, whether it be lawmaking, whether it be architecture, whether it be sculpture, other elements of the material and cultural life of the people. Sanskrit is very much there. You may be seeing several branches of science, applied science and technology, whether it be through Ayurveda, whether it be the Tachusha, architecture, all these things, design, everything you find models. So when you just look at aesthetics, you feel the type of the dealings in through Sanskrit aesthetics, whether it be the different dance forms, whether it be the various fine arts forms, you will see ample examples of interventions. If you just look at the festivals and the traditional art forms which are happening in the religious institutions of in the country, you will see that Sanskrit and this type of interventions which were originated several centuries ago is even now doing that. Definitely, people may not be understanding the full ramifications of the original texts and all that, but even now you can see the reminiscences and you can see the applications of such interventions in our day-to-day interactions, day-to-day lives. And this particular aspect of the socio-economic organization has to be emphasized. And I, of course, have interaction with Vivek Samooh only through maybe through the last 1.5 or 2 years maximum. I see that the activities which this organization is doing is exemplary, and it is very important that through publications, through seminars, through conferences, through discussion meetings, these activities should be promoted. And after 36 years of thing, day before just a few days ago, we have a new policy of education, new education policy for this country, And if you just look at the new education policy, you will also see lot of interventions, lot of suggested interventions for promoting the Indian languages. They are looking at Sanskrit as its base, and also looking at Sanskrit as a language for scientific activity. And any development of any modern, any Indian language in a modern perspective can only have learnings from the Sanskrit. We have large number of scholars, we have large number of universities in this country. Of course, government is also very firm and proactive on promoting Sanskrit. The earlier Sanskrit institutions like Rashtriya Sanskrit Samsthan, all these things were declared as central universities of independent status. These are all activities which the government is promoting. If you just look at different states also, you will see the promotion of Sanskrit. I come from a state, southernmost state in the country, Kerala, where Malayalam is my mother tongue. Almost every word I say in Malayalam is Sanskrit. But I didn't have, in Kerala, I didn't have an opportunity to learn Sanskrit in the schools or anything. But every word, every poetry, every modern poet, every modern writer take examples of traditions and all these things from Sanskrit literature, and then they modify it. Of course, they may be very progressive, totally different thinkers in their political perspective and all that, but I see a great root. I see the roots of all these modern thinkings. Whoever is a scholar in their own area, in their own domain, they have enriched themselves from understanding of Sanskrit. And this thing should continue with the youngsters. This should continue with the youngsters. And therefore, it is very important that we promote the Sanskrit language, Sanskrit culture, Sanskrit in science and technology, Sanskrit in medicine, and also all the literatures and technological interventions which were prominent through the Sanskrit language and Sanskrit media in this country. Let me wish this program very success. Let me once again thank Mr. Dilip Karambekar ji, as well as Professor Kala Acharya and all the family of Vivek Samooh for inviting me for this activity. Let me wish this program all success. Thank you very much.
Fortunate that we have with us for blessing our organization and our event and our undertaking such great eminent personalities. Well, like we have always said that you cannot work in isolation. There has to be people to come together, and going by the adage in the Rigveda, Sangachadvam, Samvadadvam, Samvo Manansi Janatam. We obviously need people to be with us, institutions to be with us, so that we can create great things together. And hence, the need of the hour is to be with people. I wish to request Dr. Laura Yerekeshava, who is the Professor Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, President Kazakhstan India Foundation, Almaty at Kazakhstan, to please present her points regarding our collaboration. Just give me a moment because this thing just gets stuck sometimes. So I request now the series of our esteemed associates to be speaking to us. So in that we have the first one, that is Dr. Laura Yerekeshava. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you very much. Namaskar, dear friends. I'm really blessed today and thank you all of you for inviting me to participate in this event. And some members of organization of Sanskriti Sambadhan Sanshodhan Pratishan, I was really privileged to know Professor Kala Acharya, and actually in December 2013 and January 2014, I was privileged to study Indian philosophy under her guidance and the guidance of other professors, Professors Lalita and others. And that was unforgettable days, which put me closer to towards understanding Indian culture. Today was correctly said that Sanskrit and Indian culture and Sanskrit in particular as a wonderful and basic representation of the culture is important. It's important for us because we need to, if we to understand today's issues from the holistic, systemic perspective, including social, economic, and whatnot, then we need to go to the basis of that system. And the basis is culture. And the basis of culture is language. And Sanskrit language is a sort of cradle of languages of all Indo-Aryan groups. And also I would say that had a great impulses towards other regions. Particularly I'm from Kazakhstan and from Central Asia. We have in the region a lot of documents and a lot of artifacts written in both Sanskrit, in Brahmi, in Kharosthi, and unfortunately, the scholars, there are so many scholars, so few scholars who know Sanskrit today outside of India, I mean in our region. And unfortunately, we cannot go and understand the history, the past, without learning this. So from this perspective, whether it is from international collaboration, whether it is the study of the language per se, but through the language you could study the history of the culture. And so our Kazakhstan Indian Foundation was quite young organization. It had been organized in 2016 and supported by the Embassy of India in Kazakhstan throughout all these years, and particularly Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center. And we are really privileged to be a bridge point between bridge builders between different cultures, particularly between Central Asia and between India, in Kazakhstan and India. So from this perspective, I think it's more, it's so important and really proper time now. And I was so happy to hear now the Vice Chancellor told that in India, a huge importance is given now to the study of Sanskrit, irrespectively of the affiliation of the university, school, department, whether it is technical or some other. It's really, if we look at these events, development from the holistic perspective, it is a must. So I would say that really privileged to be part of the team, part of the group of those same-minded people, and we'll try our best from our side to promote Indian culture here in Kazakhstan and vice versa. And just a few moments about my personal experience. This Shravan Purnima actually is my birthday also, and it happens so that I was born on Shravan Purnima on 3rd of August, but so many years ago, not today. And when I received invitation to take part in the discussions in Sanskrit itself, I was really astonished how sometimes life gives you a coincidence, maybe not coincidence, of opportunities to make some contribution towards this real great river or flow of intercultural dialogue. So I would happy to be part of this great river, of this big endeavor, and I congratulate all organizers. And I really, without neglecting others, would like to highlight Professor Kalachari, because I was really blessed to know and to study Indian culture. And you, Professor Kala, told me that Sanskrit we shall study later. Let's focus on philosophy mainly. So hopefully this could be done, maybe through the online seminars, through online teaching programs, which could be done through the Al-Farabi Kazakh National Universities as well. We have Indian department there in Oriental faculty. So let's think about the modalities for the future. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Laura Yerekeshava, and wish you a lot of good wishes on your birthday. So from all of us present here and all those of us who are listening to this entire event live on Facebook. So many happy returns of the day. and thank you for the constructive way ahead that you have indicated. We are happy to have with us Acharya Vidya Bhaskar ji, who is the head of Sanskrit Academy, Sarvamangala Foundation, UK and Switzerland. I'm keeping the introductions little short here, one for want of time. Second, we will also be privileged to be listening to Dr. Laura Yerakeshava right away tomorrow, and also Dr. With Acharya Vidya Bhaskar ji on the 10th. So we will be knowing more about them, and of course about Vidya Bhaskar ji in the presidential address. So I'm keeping this extremely short, and I request Acharya Vidya Bhaskar ji to say a few words regarding our collaboration. Thank you so much. Over to you, Acharya ji.
Namaste, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I am not very well versed technologically. Ruchita ji, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Namo Namaha, Dr. Kala Acharya ji. It is good to see you again. You are always a light that inspires everybody. And Vice Chancellor Dr. Rajashekharan Pillai, it was wonderful to see you again. I had the honor of seeing you some weeks ago. Dr. Sampadananda Mishra ji and all the great speakers. Laura ji, happy birthday. So just a quick description. I've known Dr. Kala Acharya ji for many years, actually. I think back in 2005 or 2006, she had organized an event on Vedanta and mysticism in the world, and she invited me, and this was when Dr. Shantilal Somayaji was still there, and we had a wonderful time with him. So over the years, I've always remembered her very fondly, and recently she invited me to a program. So in the meantime, what we have done in Switzerland and in the UK is we have created the Sarvamangala Foundation, which offers online teachings in Sanskrit grammar in a very fun and enthusiastic way. We have quite a few attendees. We also offer meditation classes and Sri Vidya oriented classes. So Sri Vidya being a more traditional Hindu meditation and sadhana practice. So when Dr. Kalaji asked if we would like to participate, of course, it is a wonderful initiative. There is no better way than to spread dharma than through Sanskrit. In a nutshell, I won't take your time, in one nutshell, anyone who studies Sanskrit properly for more than 4 years, 5 years, will never become a bad human being in their life. It is almost impossible because the language shapes our mind. It molds our minds, even our brains. So it is the way to refine people, to make good people, and to spread goodness in the world. This is self-evident. So I think there is no better initiative than this initiative. And I hope that lots of people across the world will join in and will see the importance of this. Adieu.
Thank you. Thank you, Acharya Vidya Bhaskar ji. I now request the recording of Professor Srinivas Warkhedi ji, the Vice Chancellor Kavikula Guru Kalidas Sanskrit University, Ramtek, which is at Nagpur, to be played. He could not be present here because, as all of us know, today's Sanskrit Divasa, and there are many programs happening simultaneously as we are hosting ours. So he has to be there since that's the university he belongs to. Yet I must mention that he is of very tall acclaim in the academic field and a member of the Sanskrit Committee for the Vision Document of MHRD Government of India. I request our supporting team to kindly play the recording which he has sent as his best wishes for the event. May the recording be played, please. Thank you. The audio is not there. Atharva, please check the audio. Many years ago, we took getting used to other things. Now we have to get used to technological glitches.
शुभावसरे नूतनोऽयम् उपक्रमः समारब्धः तत्र भवतां सर्वेषां स्वागतं व्याहरामि। एतस्य संशोधनप्रतिष्ठानस्य नूतनोऽयं प्रकल्पः परमश्रद्धेयायाः आचार्यायाः कला आचार्यमहोदयायाः मार्गदर्शने प्रचलति। अत्र संशोधनप्रकल्पेषु बह्व्यः संस्थाः सहयोगं यच्छन्ति। तत्र विशिष्य अमेरिका, स्विट्जर्लैंड, कजाकिस्तान इत्यादिभ्यः देशेभ्यः भारतस्य पाण्डिचेरी, गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र राज्येभ्यः नाना संस्थाः तत्र सम्मिलिताः सन्ति इति महते प्रमोदाय। अन्ताराष्ट्रीय सम्मेलनेऽस्मिन् कविकुलगुरु कालिदास संस्कृत विद्यापीठस्यापि सहयोगः भविष्यति। अस्मिन् सन्दर्भे अहं कला आचार्य महोदयायाः मार्गदर्शने तस्याः नेतृत्वे निदेशकत्वे प्रवर्तमानस्य अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य शुभानि मंगलानि काङ्क्षये। एवमेव आगामि दिनेषु अनया संस्थया क्रियमाणेषु कार्येषु योजनासु च कविकुलगुरु कालिदास संस्कृत विद्यापीठस्यापि महान् सहयोगः भविष्यति। एतद्द्वारा वयं संगच्छध्वं संवदध्वं सम्वोमनांसि जानताम् इति वेदोक्तदिशा सर्वे मिलित्वा विश्वस्य हिताय, विश्वहिताय, राष्ट्रहिताय च वयं कार्यं करिष्यामः। अत्र अस्माकं मूलं संस्कृतं भविष्यति, मूलाधारः संस्कृतं भविष्यति। संस्कृतमाश्रित्य विश्वकुटुम्बित्वम् अस्माभिः समासाध्यते। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। सर्वेभ्यो नमः।
Thank you to Shri Varkhedi ji for his best wishes, and we take this further connection of working together with Professor Gopabandhu Mishra ji, who is the Vice Chancellor of Shri Somnath Sanskrit University, which is at Viraval, Gujarat. So I request him to kindly say a few words. Gopabandhu ji will of course be speaking to us elaborately on the 8th of this month, and we will be putting up the schedule ahead. Gopabandhu ji, over to you. Thank you.
सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरा। सर्वेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रावण पूर्णिमा अवसरे संस्कृत दिवसम् उपलक्ष्य किंच रक्षाबन्धनं पुरस्कृत्य सर्वेषां कृते हार्दम् अभिनन्दनम्। लौरा महोदयाः कृते हार्दिक जन्मदिवसस्य शुभाशयाः। एतत् महत्वपूर्णं गौरवपूर्णं च दिनम् अस्माकं कृते। अत्र माननीयायाः कला आचार्य महोदयायाः प्रयत्नेन विवेक समूह द्वारा संस्कृति संवर्धनं किंच संशोधन प्रतिष्ठानम् इति नाम्ना यत् इदानीम् आरभ्यते, तदर्थम् अस्माकं सर्वेषां शुभाशयाः, शुभकामनाः, शुभयत्नः, शुभकार्याणि च अग्रे भविष्यन्ति। यथा कला आचार्य महोदयाभिः उक्तम्, अन्यैश्च ज्ञानम्, इच्छा, क्रिया। ज्ञानम्, नॉलेज, इच्छा, विजडम, क्रिया, एक्शन, त्रिविधं मिलित्वा कार्यं करोति तर्हि सुफलम् आयाति। ज्ञानस्य राशिः संस्कृते अस्ति, सर्वे जानन्ति। तेन सह इच्छा योज्यते, तदनुरूप कार्याणि क्रियन्ते, ततः सम्यक् एव फलम् आगच्छति। अस्माकम् आचार्यैः वयं मङ्गलाचरणं कुर्मः। अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् एषा परम्परा आगता अस्ति। इदानीम् अस्माकम् उपरि एतत् दायित्वं, वयं यदि आचार्याः तर्हि अग्रिमपङ्क्तिः, अग्रिमकाले ये आगमिष्यन्ति तेषां कृते किं करणीयम्, एतत् उत्तरदायित्वम् अस्माकम् उपरि एव। सर्वे मिलित्वा एतस्य कृते सम्पूर्णस्य वसुधा सम्पूर्णविश्वस्य कृते, मानव समूहस्य कृते सर्वेषां कल्याणाय एषः प्रयत्नः अतीव प्रशंसनीयः। गुजरात प्रान्ते विद्यमानः अयं श्री सोमनाथ संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालयः, अस्य विश्वविद्यालयस्य पक्षतः अग्रिमकाले अपि सर्वविधः सहयोगः भविष्यति इति विश्वविद्यालयपक्षतः मम अयं शुभाशयः, किञ्च अयं प्रस्तावः। I would like to extend my all sorts of help and association with this organization, along with all our that means program and activities with this SSASP in future. It is my privilege to be with you and to be with you at present and in future also. It will be my pride and privilege. Thank you very much. धन्यवादः. जयतु संस्कृतं, जयतु भारतम्.
Banduji, sorry, I'm experiencing a little bit of network issues, so I'm not very sure if I'm audible and if I have not stopped in between. I mean, I hope I'm not, but
I am,
because I could not hear at the end.
No, Jayatu Bharatam, Jayatu Sanskritam. It was my end.
Okay, sorry, because I lost connection in between. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
So, thank you so much, Mishra ji. And I now request Dr. Sampadananda Mishra, who is the director, Sri Aurobindo Foundation of Indian Culture, that is Sri Aurobindo Society from Puducherry, to not just extend his wishes to us on the collaboration, but I'd also take this opportunity to introduce him for his ensuing talk, which is the need and relevance of Sanskrit studies for the torchbearers of Bharatiya Sanskriti in various fields. Just to save on time, I am introducing him elaborately here itself. He is a man of tall academic stature who has been working in the field of Sanskrit for a very long time, and he has worked on Bhoja's Shringara Prakasha while he was for his MPhil dissertation, as well as for his PhD thesis, The Origin and Development of Sanskrit Language in the Light of Sri Aurobindo. He has to his credit a large amount of professional experience apart from memberships at various reputed institutions like the Bharatiya Sanskrit Patrakar Sangha, being the advisor for the Vedic research, Satya Chetana Ashram, etc. And he has to his credit several papers and publications. I wish to invite Shri Dr. Sampadananda Mishra ji to take this collaborative effect point ahead, as well as speak on today's topic. So over to you, Dr. Mishra.
नमः सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य रक्षाबन्धनपर्वणः संस्कृतदिवसस्य च शुभाशया। This indeed is a very auspicious day for all of us, and especially all those who are connected with Sanskrit and all those who are lovers of Sanskrit. So on this day we have gathered here to celebrate something very, very special. And my deep regards to all the esteemed people who are present here to celebrate this, and the organizers for inviting me. I express my deep sense of gratitude. And on behalf of Sri Aurobindo Foundation for Indian Culture, also I extend a hearty welcome, and we express our deep sense of gratitude that we will be collaborating with this effort and working together for a greater purpose. Now, collaboration and reciprocal goodwill, these two are very, very essential for any good work to take place. And in that harmonious collaboration, any effective work can be accomplished. And when a number of people, a number of organizations, they come together, and these people or organizations have a harmonious aspiration and harmonious will to work together, then intensity is added to the effort. And this definitely will help accomplishing the purpose for which we all work. And in that harmonious collaboration, one thing very, very important that we all must keep in mind, that it is not you, me, he, she, not this organization, that organization. What is important is the cause for which we all have gathered. If we can keep that in mind and we can hold it in our consciousness that yes, this is the cause which is important. Whatever differences of opinion may be there, differences will be there, definitely, because no two people think alike. We all have different opinions, different viewpoints. But once we keep the cause as the most important thing, then all these differences will vanish. We will definitely make all sincere efforts to be together, work in collaboration, because our purpose is to take this work forward, which is the Sanskriti Samvardhana. Very apt name which has been chosen, Sanskriti Samvardhana. When India, the Bharatiya Sanskriti, Bharatiya Parampara, Bharatiya Darshana, Bharatiya Sahitya, Bharatiya Adhyatmikata, that get their right places, then the purpose of Bharat, the existence of this land, will be serving greatly for the progress of the world. How we all can, this collaboration is not just doing some kind of projects with each other, some events with each other, but I look at it from a deeper spiritual point of view, that there is a greater purpose that we all have come together on this auspicious day to collaborate with each other for a greater purpose. And that purpose is something where we see our rishis, our ancient seers and sages always carried that harmonious aspiration to take forward the progressive evolution of the humanity. This progressive evolution of the humanity is the central point towards which all that we do in the name of Indian culture, in the name of Sanskrit, in the name of this or that, we should keep in mind that progressive evolution of humanity at the individual level, at the collective level. This individual perfectibility and the collective perfectibility are two most important things that we have to work towards. And since we all belong to certain school of thoughts which have been working towards Sanskritam, working towards Bharatiya Sanskriti, there will be a greater harmony amongst us in taking forward this work. So I'm very, very happy to be a part of this whole initiative. And from Sri Aurobindo Foundations of Indian Culture, I would not say that we will extend help, because help is given to another person. Now I am not another, I am one. With we all five, I feel that we all are one. We're working together. So not helping each other, it's my work. It's the organization's work to take it forward, to keep that in the mind. With this aspiration, I again extend my thanks to all the people who have decided that we all should be together. And this is the real Satsanga. Satsanga, when we look at from the deeper point of view, the words in Sanskritam, why Sanskritam is important, I will be, giving few examples during my deliberation now. So Satsanga is not just to gather together and have some discourses on some spiritual topic or something connected with the language or culture or anything, but Satsanga, Sat is the truth. Sangha is coming together to ascertain the truth. That is Satsanga. So harmoniously, a group of people, a group soul, I don't call it now the people, a group soul, aspiring harmoniously, have come together to ascertain the truth, to work for the truth. That is the true meaning of Satsanga. And this is in our parampara, Bharatiya parampara, Shravana Purnima is the day of initiation. There can't be a better day to begin something. This is the day of initiation. The Upanayana takes place. The changing of the sacred thread takes place. This Upanayana is the day of initiation, that one is born into a different consciousness, has a greater responsibility on one's own once this initiation has happened. I'm very, very happy. I'm even exalted, ecstatic feeling that I have, that today we are sitting here and doing this Sat Sangha in a true sense. So again, my pranam to all the elderly people who are present here, all the esteemed people belonging to different organizations, and all the participants who are viewing on the Facebook, all the people who are present on the Zoom meeting. So to all of them, I give my regard, my pranam, and then I begin my deliberation on what is the relevance of Sanskrit for all the torch bearers. And we all know the famous verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tadeve tarojana. Sa yat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. When we are talking about torch bearers, we are referring to that Shrestha, the leaders. The leader not only leads, the true leader has to have various qualities. No one becomes a leader by attending some leadership course, leadership workshop. But a leader has to, as per our tradition, when we see the rishis, the scientists of the ancient times, the seer sages, were the true leaders. When we turn to the first mantra of Rig Veda, I'm contemplating on the word torch bearer, and from there I will move towards what our responsibilities are. So the very first mantra of Rig Veda, and I would like to request every Indian, whether you know anything or do not know, whether you have studied any Shastra or not, at least learn the first mantra of Rig Veda. That becomes the identity of an Indian. That yes, I know the first mantra of Rig Veda, which is the foundation of our Sanatana Dharma. I don't know anything, but I know the first mantra of our Rig Veda, the foundational text. Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. So here we see that Agni, the seers and sages, like why do we, when we begin anything, we pay our respect to the forefathers, we pay our respect to the Purvaja, Idam Namah Rishibhya, Purvebhya, Purvajebhya, Pathikradbhya, because they have paved the path for us. They have shown the path for us. They were the true torch bearers. They were the true leaders, and they had a greater responsibility. In ancient time, when the king faced certain problem in ruling, in governing, so he had to go to the rishi for solution, for counseling, because rishi's word is the final word. It has to be followed. because he has the grand vision before him. He sees everything clearly. He is the drashta. He is the satya shrota. He is not just mantra drashta or mantra shrota, mantra drashta or satya drashta. He is also mantra shrota and satya shrota, the hearer of the truth and the seer of the truth. Because he has seen the truth, he knows what is truth, he knows what is good for the progressive evolution of the humanity. So Agni Mile Purohitam has a most beautiful epithet for Agni right on the, this is the first mantra of the foundation text of our Sanatana Dharma, Purohita. Now Purohita is very roughly interpreted or translated as priest, but priest is a very, very narrow word for translating the word Purohita. Purah Hita. Purah means in front. Hita is placed. One who is placed in front, one who stands in front as a leader. So Agni, in fact, when we study the entire Rig Veda, where Agni has about 200 hymns, and Agni and Indra are the principal deities in Rig Veda. Around 250 hymns are dedicated to Indra and 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. But Agni, from a deeper spiritual, psychological, esoteric point of view, is the true leader. It is that will force in us which leads us, puts us into action, puts us into the dynamism in this world. That will force has to be invoked first, because that is the leader. A leader is the one who has that Agni, a flame in him. He prays, so that is why constantly the leader, the Rishi prays, Agni Tvam Sujagrahi, Vayam Sumandishimahi, Rakshanu Aprayuchan Prabudhena Punaskriti. And what is the prayer? If we can carry as torch bearers, we all have to remember this, that we are not just mere torch bearers. We have a greater responsibility on us to lead. And to lead is not to lead others. A true leader, again, is not just leads or gives some guidance or counseling or has certain kind of mapping road map in front of him, but a true leader creates enormous amount of other leaders while leading others. So that is the true quality of a leader. So how do we create? It is our responsibility that we need to create more leaders on the path. There will be always, so I will be talking about certain practical problems that when we are leading certain initiative, leading certain organizations and working as leaders or torch bearers, we do face certain problems and we do have certain personal issues with many things. And when we are working for a greater cause, so all these narrow, mean and limited personal issues we have to keep behind. And that is the message of our tradition, of our parampara. Then a true Purohita. The true Purohita is a true invoker. So Hota is not again the priest. He is the Ahvata. He calls, he invites. Invites for what? He invites to move forward on the path of progress. And it is not an easy path. It is the most difficult path. Yet one needs to have that heroic strength to walk on this path. And Agni as a Purohita. So the true Purohita invites, not only just invites, he also supplies, he also supports, lends all kinds of support so that others will be able to walk on this difficult path. And he creates that trust among others that yes, you can walk on this path. So which is a very, very most important component of our tradition, that the message that our seers and sages have given, that to create that trust among others, to create that hope amongst others. When we were like studying Sanskrit, I will tell you the very practical thing. Some people may like it, may not like it, but we never found with everything there was no hope. We're saying, oh, what do I do studying Sanskrit? What are the options? There was no one even like to explain in a practical sense that what do we do with Sanskrit. Today, of course, the situation is changing because of the hard work of many people, hard work of many sincere leaders, we can say, sincere, seekers and sincere workers, karmi, true karma yogi, that how to, take this work forward. So then the next generation doesn't feel that kind of cloudiness, that kind of gloominess, that kind of, like darkness, that what is the hope of the future. So we as torch bearers, we have to keep in the mind what is the kind of trust and hope we create amongst others, that others become attracted, not only attracted, they become encouraged, and with all kinds of love, all kinds of, true sincerity and encouragement and enthusiasm, they adopt, not only adopt Sanskrit, but they work for Sanskrit, for a greater future of Sanskrit. So there are few things which need to be done. So the first thing is to recover. The most important thing is to recover all the beautiful, all the ennobling aspect that is hidden in our tradition. The most important task is to recover that whole spiritual wisdom, that spiritual strength. And this, the first work of us, when we come individually or collectively as organizations. So our task must be, whatever plans and programs that we will be doing to work together, to take this work forward, we have to first create such programs by which we are able to recover that noble, that ennobling aspects, those beautiful, wonderful aspects of our culture, of our tradition, of the language, of that spiritual, most importantly, that spiritual wisdom of the seers and sages, of the rishis, because that is the foundation. And that is the foundation. Someone may question that what is that foundation? Just imagine so many civilizations which were there. The history has recorded so many civilizations. But where are those civilizations? Does any civilization have a living presence today? No. Because all the civilizations, the 46, 47 civilizations, what history speaks about, have gone into oblivion. Today they are lost because none of them had that foundation. None of them had that, like inner practice, inner culture, inner tapasya. The only civilization, the Bharatiya Sabhyata, had that Samskriti, had that culture, had that inner practice, that inner strength. That created such a strong foundation that today, after so many baffling situations, baffled and beaten back again and again, it never lose hope. So the very name Bharata itself is a hope, is a trust. That is why the whole world is looking towards Bharata. Because here there is hope, here there is trust. Here there is a foundation which has been created. A vision, a roadmap has been provided to us. That is why we offer our obeisance, Namaha Pathikridbhya. Because a roadmap has been given to us. A blueprint has been given to us. And it is such a solid blueprint that like anyone who adopts this blueprint, this roadmap, and works on this path sincerely will never lose hope. Our parampara, our dharma is chareveti, charan vai madhuvindate. That we have been constantly asked, chareveti. So the first task is to recover that foundation, that spiritual wisdom. Spirituality, adhyatmikata, is the key note, key tone, is this very, very central to our culture, our sabhyata, our civilization. Once that spiritual wisdom is recovered, that spiritual force is recovered, then we need to find out ways and means how to percolate that force, spiritual force, into every aspect of life. And all these things cannot happen if we merely engage ourselves in certain academic study and do certain programs and then workshops and seminars and all these things, which of course has its own value. But it all refers to that when we have decided to work for Sanskritam, work for Bharata, we need to do tapas. Without tapasya, so every one of us, every torch bearer is expected to become a yogi, expected to become a rishi. Then only we can guide, then we can show the path. As mere ordinary human beings and clinging to that ordinary limited consciousness, we cannot take this work forward. Tapas, intense tapas is necessary. Look at Vasishtha Ganapati Muni. When he went, I'm sure all of you must have heard Vasishtha Ganapati Muni. He was the first and foremost disciple of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. He was elder to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, the Brahmana Swami. In fact, Vasishtha Ganapati Muni discovered Ramana Maharshi and then gave this name Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi and make the whole world know who this Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is. So he had enormous knowledge of all the Shastras. When we turn to his literature, we see that what kind of depth that he had gone into in the Sanskrit tradition. And he writes a letter to, he has several letters to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in Sanskrit, so that all these letters have been published in the collected works of Vasishtha Ganapati Muni, the 11th volume. So the total work is published in 12 volumes. So the 11th volume has all these letters in Sanskrit. So one should go and read. And today, I have seen in most of the organizations and academic institutions and universities and schools and colleges, so students are not reading. They don't have the reading habit of many texts. It is a sad fact. Other than what is there in syllabus, no one reads extra. Even what is there in syllabus also, they are not studying properly. So how are we going to take this work forward unless and until we delve deeply into the tradition? Delving deep is not just to concentrate and contemplate and read and then mug up our shastras and then present it whenever it is needed in any seminar or whenever we are asked to do Vakyartha Sadas or anything, but how we are living the truth expounded in the Shastra. Because our dharma, our parampara is not something just to be believed, but it has to be lived and relived, not just to be believed. That yes, we have great tradition, we have great Shastras. It has to be relived, every aspect of it. In every aspect of our life, we have to live the truth. So now Vasishtha Ganapati Muni writes in a letter to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi saying that, you know, I have done intense study of all the Shastras. There's nothing left for me to know from the Shastric point of view. I have done intense tapasya, but one thing which I have achieved, siddhis in many fields, by the power of tapas. He was a great tapasvi. They were the true torch bearers are the tapasvis and the yogis and rishis and munis. So he says that I have achieved siddhi in all fields, but one thing why it is not happening? Tell me, I want a decisive reply, a very convincing reply from you, my Lord. And what is that? He is referring to why my nation, my country is suffering. Is my tapas has no power to make my nation free from the suffering? And guide me. If more intense tapasya has to be done for this purpose, I am ready to do that. When we say Vayam Rashtre Jagruyama, the mantra doesn't end with that. Vayam Rashtre Jagruyama Swaha. That Swaha is the Balidana, the Atmahuti. We should not stop at Vayam Rashtre Jagruyama. That Swaha has to be. absorbed in our consciousness. We have to adopt that, relive that. At every moment, that Atma Hahuti has to be there. I am ready every moment to sacrifice. I am ready to do that Atma Hahuti, that Balidana for my nation, for my country. If that sense, that bhava is not there, then the work will not happen. The influence, definitely. There are three things by which we can educate properly as torchbearers. First thing is not by instruction, it is by awakening. Not by instruction, but by awakening. Not by awakening and by giving examples, drishtanta, prabodhana and drishtanta. This has been our tradition. Prabodhana, drishtanta and prabhava, influence. That prabhava must not be the influence is not influencing by position, by adhikaritva, that I am sitting in this position, so the world has to obey me. I am utilizing my influence. It is not that kind of influence. That is not our tradition. That is contrary to our tradition. What is influence? The very presence of a rishi, presence of a yogi is enough to influence, enough to put its impact. That presence, if we can carry as torchbearers. And for that, we have a long way to go. But that long way can be shortened. The way has been shown to us by our seers and sages. The way has been shown to us. The path has been shown to us. What should we do? Tapas, intense tapas, accelerating whatever tapasya we are doing can help us. So the second point was, how do, by the power of tapas, we percolate this spiritual wisdom and spiritual force into every aspect of our life. And the third most important task that remains to be done when we are working for Bharatiya Samskriti, when we are working for our Bharatiya Parampara, Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, this is important. We should not always sing the glory of the past. Singing the glory of the past is an insult to our Rishi tradition if we are not reliving the past. What is necessary? Past, we have to make a foundation. We have to take the message. We have to take the glow. We have to take the inspiration. We have to take the insight. We have to take all the beautiful, all that is ennobling, all that is grand, which was envisioned by the seers and sages. We have to take this, and based on that foundation, using present as the material, we have to leap towards a bright future. We can create future. If we want to create future, it is not that by becoming the past that we can create the future. The approach should never be to become the past, but use the past as a springboard to leap towards the future. Not to become the past, not to going back, because we are evolutionary being. We have to move forward. But without losing that force, that spirit, that flavor, that is why it says, Adinaha Syama Saradah Satam. May we never experience the poverty, the poorness of the spirit, being high-spirited, high-souled, being high potential. Prarabdham uttama gunah na parityajanti, vignai punah punarapi pratihanyamana. Baffled and beaten back again and again by constant attacks, constant obstacles and hindrances. The Uttama Guna, the high-spirited, the high-potential ones never stop. They stop not till they have achieved the goal. Look at the fiery messages of Swami Vivekananda. They were the true torchbearers. So putting that effort, there was no effort towards becoming the past when we look at all, even the modern seers and thinkers, Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Ramba Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Sri Aurobindo, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and the list is endless. So many sadhus, so many sannyasis, so many spiritual masters. The attempt always has been to move forward, Charaiveti, 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 not to become the past. So, what is the point here that I'm making? That we need to create, based on that spiritual foundation, we need to create new forms of literature, new forms of polity, new forms of economic, new forms of governance, new form of architecture, art, all that, like the human life is aspiring to have new forms. We give new forms, not the same old pattern that we continue. If we have to do ritual, that also has to take a new form. If we are talking about the Dharma Shastra, the code of conduct, the codes of conduct, they are meant for a particular time, a particular community, sthana, kala, patra. They're confined to that. There will be always these two elements in every Shastra. There will be some universal element, there will be the temporal element. So that temporal element in the Shastra has to keep changing. And it is sad that we have evolved, but we have not taken care of evolving our Shastras. Where is the new Dharma Shastra that we have created? I'm putting this question to all our fellow seekers. We have failed creating new Shastras. We are blindly following what has been given to us. We are blindly following certain temporal truths which have been given in the Shastras and then fighting over it. As evolutionary being, as Charaiveti, as we evolve, depending upon the time, situation, and our own Swabhava and Swadharma, and Swabhava and Swadharma of the nation, how the nation is evolving, keeping in mind both the individual and collective perfectibility and evolution, our Shastras also must evolve. So it is the responsibility of all the torchbearers, all the leaders, to see that the Shastras also evolve. We have Vasishta Ganapati Muni. Very few people, even in the field of Sanskrit, very few people know about him. He has given us a new Vasishta Dharma Sutra. He does not, and that is what you see, that how the later rishis, that has been our parampara. One rishi says, paying respect to the Purva Rishi. Panini himself has paid respect to the Purva Rishis, the previous grammarians, the previous etymologists, and he offers his new view without disrespecting. We say like iti Shakalya, iti Vasishta, iti Yajnavalkya. But this is what is my thing looking at the present condition. So how do we, instead of just confining, limiting ourselves to certain past old patterns, how do we bring a paradigm shift in every aspect of life and then connect it with our culture, our tradition, our dharma, our parampara, our Sanskriti, our bhasha. We cannot just talk about Sanskrit alone. We cannot just talk about Sanskrit alone. We have to talk about all the regional languages because they keep enriching each other. If we have not taken care of all the regional languages and we are talking only about Sanskrit, it is the same thing like avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amrutam mashnute. You cannot exclusively concentrate on avidya or exclusively concentrate on the vidya. Vidya and avidya both have to be taken together. The same way, all the regional languages of Bharata, all the regional traditions, everything has to be taken together. And look how beautifully all these languages, they enrich together. I would suggest that whenever any Sanskrit conference or any related to Sanskrit language takes place, there must be a session on the regional languages and its connection with Sanskrit. That's how we can enrich each other. The differences, like the fight amongst the people which goes on. Oh, my language is great. This language is great. That language is great. All those who fight, they don't love their language truly. If I have fallen in love with one single language of India, believe me, I cannot hate any language. Because there is a divine principle operating in the birth, growth, and development of every language. If I can see that, if I can be in harmony with that, then I am in harmony with that particular language, that particular community which is using that language, that the tradition, the rituals, the practice of that community which is using that language, I'm in harmony with that, I'm in love with that. Every parampara, why the paramparas are created? Because truth is manifold. It manifests in manifold aspect. The purpose of every parampara is to concentrate on a particular aspect of the truth and keep perfecting that. It is every parampara is concentrated, is expected to concentrate on the perfectibility of one aspect of the truth. Another parampara takes care of another aspect of the truth. Look at, this is how the beauty of our parampara. It is parampara, not that my parampara is the great, my guru is the great, my shastra is the great, my language is the great, my Sanskriti is the great, my nation is the great, my state is great. No. Every parampara, every tradition, every language, every practice, every individual, every community has its own uniqueness and greatness. We all have to respect that. And we must understand why different paramparas are created. Simple reason that every parampara is expected to contemplate on one aspect of the truth and keep perfecting that by living that aspect of the truth in his life without disrespecting. And when someone truly lives, that sense of dvesha will never arise in his consciousness, because all those who live the tradition, live the truth, have that intense seeking, they live in an expanded consciousness. They are the true udara chetas. And in udara chetas, ayam nijah paroveti, this bhava will not arise. It is just vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Bhava, it arises in the consciousness of the udara chetas. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam is the parinama. When we start expanding in our consciousness and live in that expanded consciousness. I hope I have been able to convey the message which I am expected to, or I was expected to. So with these few words, again, inviting you all the Indians, all the Bharatiya Bandhus, Bharatiya Bhrata Bhagini on this Raksha Bandhan day to participate in a reciprocal goodwill and that harmonious collaboration, because it is not my work, your work, his work, her work. It is the work of the entire nation. How do we come, all of us, harmoniously to take part in this Mahayajna and then see that our Bharata, our Bharatavarsha, our Bhasha, our Sanskriti, our Parampara, our Dharma is moving on its way to become the leader, become the Purohita of the entire world. Because the future of India, the future of the world rests much on the future of Bharata. With these words, I again express my deep sense of gratitude to all of you and then say, Jayatu Samskrita Janani Jayatu, Jayatu Bharatavarsham Jayatu. Dhanyavada.
धन्यवादः सम्पदानन्द मिश्रा महोदयः अतीव उत्तमं यदुक्तमस्ति. You have expressed some very important and very beautiful thoughts of how one has to lead by an example, being exemplary, and we have to show its relevance, else we can't take it ahead. And the last point was extremely beautiful. I'm sure everyone's taken that in, and thank you so much for being here and being able to say this to all of us. With this, I request Rajas Vaishampayan, who is the coordinator of Vivek Center for Interdisciplinary Research, to kindly introduce to us Acharya Vidya Bhaskarji, who will give his presidential address. And over to you, Rajas.
Namaste everyone. I am Rajas Vaishampayan. I am here to introduce our honorable speaker who is going to deliver the presidential address. He is a great scholar of traditional Sanskrit studies, comparative religion, psychology, and he has co-authored many books with Honorable Acharya Siddhartha Krishnaji of Rishikesh. A great practitioner and teacher of non-dual meditation, he belongs to the Sri Vidya lineage. He is the head of Sanskrit Academy Sarva Mangala Foundation situated in Switzerland and UK. I request you all to please help me welcome Honorable Acharya Vidya Bhaskarji. Namaste, sir. Sir, I request you to kindly address our today's gathering. Thank you.
नमो नमः सर्वे महाभागाः श्रावणपूर्णिमा शुभावसरे रक्षाबन्धनमहोत्सवे च अभिनन्दनम्. As a Mangalacharana, I would like to recite for you the Kumara Sambhava verse that describes the moment when Parvati, in the form of Uma, was ready to get married to Shiva after her attendants had dressed her and adorned her. Kalidasa says this: Kshirodavele vasapena punja paryapta chandreva sharatriyama navam navaksho manivasini sa bhuyo babho darpanamadadhana. Now the Sanskrit scholars among you require no translation, but perhaps not everyone is as blessed as Dr. Sampadananda ji, whose talk was magnificent. The verse means this: dressed in a fresh silk garment and holding a new mirror, Navam Darpanam. She, meaning Uma, appeared magnificently, like the shore of the ocean of milk with plenty of foam, or like the autumn night with the full moon. Dressed in a fresh silk garment and holding a new mirror, she appeared magnificently like the shore of the ocean of milk with plenty of foam, or like the autumn night with the full moon. I believe Sanskrit needs no proof other than a verse like this. And those who know something about Sanskrit will also know that this translation is very superficial. What is the moon in this verse? Chandra. The moon is not just the moon. Chandayati, ahladayati iti chandraha. Chandra is that, or he, who illuminates, but also causes bliss. He illuminates because when he reaches his full splendor, as he has done today on Shravana Purnima, he illumines the darkness of the night. He illumines the Nilotpala, the blue Utpala flower, which opens because of the light of the moon. And therefore, ahladayati, he brings bliss and delight. The rays of the moon are shitala, they are gentle. Whereas the rays of the sun are very, very too hot, isn't it? Santapa. The moon brings gentle bliss, gentle coolness to the heart. And Uma appears magnificently like the night illumined by the full moon. In Sharat, in autumn, not in Shravana. That is also why another form of Uma is Sharada, Saraswati, who is like the full moon in Sharat Kala. I know that the Sanskrit scholars might be frowning. How do you derive that Vyutpatti? But it is indeed possible. Sharadi Bhava, Sharada, and then you can make that Vyutpatti if you are a little creative. And it is also in one of the Agamas. Sharada is like the full moon in autumn. And of course, today we have the Shravana full moon. So we have to be a little bit lenient with Kumara Sambhava's example. So Uma is like the moon, like the full moon at night in autumn. And yet she also is like the shore of the ocean of milk, plentiful with foam. I will not go into the Vyutpatti, but look at the incredible example here, the Upama given. Please, all of you, visualize an ocean of nectar filled with milk. Please visualize it in your heart, in your mind. There is a boundless ocean of nectar, resplendent in the white color of milk. This is called Kshira Sagara. It is also called Sudha Sindhu, the ocean of nectar. Visualize this, please, in front of your inner eye, your Jnana Chakshu. It is a boundless ocean that is not limited by gravity. It is not limited by any physical form, such as the American shore, or the Indian shore, or the Arab shore, or the Chinese shore, for that matter. It is not limited by anything. It is a boundless ocean that pervades all of existence, all of samsara, all of moksha is pervaded by this ocean. It is an ocean that exists in our heart, and it is an ocean that pervades the aparimana brahmanda. And not only one brahmanda, koti brahmanda, crores of universes, which maya mayena maruta, through the wind of maya, are arising moment to moment from the infinite, as Adi Shankaracharya says. And this ocean of milk, which is boundless, which is infinite in its splendor and infinite in its expanse, it is anantaspara. It is infinite in its expanse. This ocean has only one symbolic shore, and that shore is abundantly resplendent with foam. And that shore is at the feet of Uma, of Parvati. And it is only that foam on the ocean of that infinite milk, Kshirasagara, which can serve as a simile for the beauty of Uma, who is dressed in a fresh silk garment and is holding a new mirror. Now the word mirror, darpanam, darpana as well, is a very remarkable word. Because the root has two meanings, harsha and mohana. Darpayati iti darpana. That which causes joy is darpana, but also that which causes darpa, vanity, mohayati iti darpana. That which causes you to think, oh, I'm so beautiful this morning. When you look into the mirror, this is probably mostly the ladies, not so much the men, but who knows? Who knows? Darpana is formed with the nich pratyaya and then lyuh with the Panini Sutra. And it can really have a couple of meanings, but darpaka, like Kamadeva is called, is really the meaning also of darpana. That which causes you to be vain, that which deludes you, mohayati iti darpana, is really one of the main meanings. And if we look at the modern world, it is shocking. It is a world of vanity. It is a world of delusion, of mohana. Facebook is also darpana book, isn't it? Everybody is putting themselves onto Facebook and Instagram and all these wonderful platforms just for one single purpose, mainly, in order to present how great they are, in order also to show others how beautiful or handsome or wonderful, and in order to show off, in order to create some new form of moha, samsara. There is little truth in Facebook and in the modern world. It is no longer yathartha drishti. It is not tattva drishti, seeing things as they are. Because the truth of samsara is that I am a taklu, that Sampadananda Mishra ji, who is one of the greatest scholars of Sanskrit in modern 21st century. Those of you who do not know Sanskrit cannot appreciate him. But if you know Sanskrit, you need only to watch 1 minute of his YouTube videos and you will realize, oh, wow, one of the great masters has been reborn. You see, it takes someone who can appreciate that to appreciate it. But the reality is also that Sampadananda Mishra ji is also taklu, isn't it? That life is impermanent. No matter how great we are, no matter how knowledgeable we are, the body is decaying. It is subject to the process of decay that begins right after the age of 21. Till 21, we rise, and then it is decline. Constant decline. The brain cells are declining. With each sentence I am speaking, my brain is getting less and less and less brain cells. It does not require a punch to the head to destroy brain cells. It only requires time. Kalo gacchati. Time is passing. Samsara is anitya. It is impermanent. Therefore, to take the darpana, the mirror of vanity, and to look into the mirror of vanity and to think, we are so great, we are so superb with our Sanskrit, we are so immense with our culture, we are the greatest culture in the world, we are the ones who will teach the whole world. We are the ones who will rule the world one day. Or if not the world, at least India we will rule through Sanskrit and culture and Hindu revivalism and all that. That is all fine. But I want to ask the question, is it really the darpana of harsha, of joy? Or is it the darpana of darpa and moha, of pride and delusion? Because darpa is an asuri sampat in the Bhagavad Gita. It is a demonic quality. It is not a noble quality. To be proud of your culture, to be proud of your Sanskrit knowledge, to be proud of your achievements is actually a demonic quality in the Bhagavad Gita. So, my beloved friends, why are we promoting darpa? Shouldn't we be promoting humility, utmost humility, like Sampadananda just said, where we realize all of this culture will be lost if we do not create new shastras. But new shastras are not created with darpa, with pride. They are created with humility. Maya namrena rachyate. As one of the beautiful prakaranas begins, I am composing this with humility. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini. In a brahmana who is endowed with vidya and vinaya. Vinaya has many meanings, but one of them is vinamrata. Not a brahmana who is full of pride and who thinks he is the best, he is the top of the world, he is the Vishwa Guru, and everyone else is impure and has to listen to him only. No, that was never the ancient culture of India. And with the utmost respect, Sampadanandaji, it is not only for Indians. Bhayam rataha iti bharata also is one vyutpatti, a person who is immersed in light, in devata swarupa. Bha means devata swarupa because deva means to shine, to be luminous. Deva has 10 meanings, but one of them is to shine and to be luminous. And Bha is also luminosity. Therefore, Bharata also means one who is immersed in the world of light, the world of the Devas. That is why Sanskrit is the language of the Devas, the language of the luminous ones. Therefore, to reduce Bharata and Bharatiya and Bharati, which is a synonym of Sanskrit, to reduce it only and only to the geographic country of India is a big mistake. I'm saying this very humbly because you see, I do not have the fortune of having been born in India. Shantideva, the great Buddhist Acharya who wrote the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, he writes that it is the supreme punya to be born in the punya bhumi of India, in Aryavarta. And that those who do not have that punya already have done some great papa. This is what he says. And I believe that. However, India is not only the geographic India. India is also the ancient dharma that was spread across the world. If you study the religions of the Sumerians, of the Akkadians, of the ancient Egyptians, you will realize that the deity Ishtar is riding on a lion. She's a Devi. She's riding on a lion. She has many arms holding many weapons. Who is Ishtar? Also called Astarte. Clearly it is Durga. Whoever cannot see that has to go to an eye doctor. Please get him an appointment. I'm sure there must be very good eye doctors, opticians in Mumbai. whoever cannot see that the deity Aset in Egypt, who is called Isis, and is wearing the moon in her head, and is wearing snakes, and is rising from the ocean and is giving darshan, and then a stotra is sung to her, where she is described as snakes are coming out from her hair, and the moon is in her hair, and the sun is shining from her face, and she's liberating all beings. Whoever cannot see that this is Mahakali in some other form, please get her an appointment with an eye doctor, an optician. We have to understand Sanatana Dharma was a global Dharma. The ancient Celtic people who were the rulers of Europe before the Christians conquered, etc. We do not need to go into that. They were worshipping forms of deities sitting in Padmasana. Their druids were like our ancient rishis. And some people derive the word druid from druvid, the knower of plants. And this is not some pseudo-vyutpatti, it is serious. If you check some etymological dictionaries, druid is linked to the ancient word dru, which means plant, and id is related to the ancient Indo-European root to know. Videre in Latin, to see and to know, and vid in Sanskrit. So the vyutpatti druvit is actually not a pseudo-vyutpatti, it is a real vyutpatti. Druid is a druvit, a knower of plants. Therefore, to reduce Sanskriti of Sanatana as a geographic region today is a mistake. This is was a global dharma, and we should not only confine it to India, because if you do that, let me humbly point out, you are then restricting it to only a certain group of people. And when you do that, others feel excluded. Please see that. If you say yoga only belongs to India and only belongs to Hinduism as we have Hinduism today, you are excluding 200 million people outside of India who are practicing yoga. The current statistic is between 150 million to 200 million people are practitioners of yoga. Why would we want to exclude them from spreading Sanskriti and Sanskrita? All of them are doing some strange physical yoga only, which is fine. It is their entry point into Sanatana Dharma. It is fine. It is only asana. And it is done with a lot of darpa, with a lot of pride and vanity. No problem. They are children, they are bala. You just see them like that. But that is the entry point. Most people in Switzerland and the UK who practice yoga, after a while, experience the effect of yoga on the mind and body. And then they realize, oh, yoga is based on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Oh, this is related to concentration. Oh, this is related to mantra. Tat japas tadartha bhavanam in the Yoga Sutras. Om. Oh, their yoga teachers are always chanting Om at the beginning of the sessions. That is not just to calm down, that is to purify, to remove obstacles. Oh, and like this, they are slowly, slowly refined. They are made samskritaha, and slowly, slowly, they are brought into the fold of Sanatana Dharma. Now, if you say, this is only for Indians, and this is only for people who are practicing proper Hinduism, only people who see themselves as nationalistic Indians practicing Hinduism, you are excluding them. Please see that. I have tremendous respect for what current political movements are doing for Hindu Dharma, but I also humbly, very humbly and modestly point out, if you confine the revival of Hindu Dharma and Sanskriti only to Indian nationalism and to Indian identity only, you are excluding the rest of the world from it. Please see that. Please. Very humbly I am saying it. Because I am not Indian by birth, and yet in my heart and in my subtle body, my sukshma sharira, I am Indian through and through. I dream in Sanskrit. My little son, his name is Amara, and he is named after Amara Simha of the Amara Kosha. My little son is only 6 years old, and one shouldn't praise one's own son. Somebody who praises their son is not in Sanatana Dharma tradition, isn't it? I am not praising my son. He is already speaking a little bit of Sanskrit word, not only words, sentences. We are already conversing in Sanskrit, and we are using it as a secret code so that his mother, who doesn't know Sanskrit so well, she only studied Lakhu Siddhanta Kaumudi, which is still good, that she cannot fully understand what we are saying. You see? I'm not praising my son, I'm telling you, Hinduism is not confined to India only. This is an ancient global dharma. Therefore, Vishvam Kurvantu Aryam. Please don't forget that. Make the whole universe Arya. Arya here means noble. It means Hindu in the sense of noble and supremely divine. Sarva Guna Sampanna. That is what Arya means. So my request is, make the Sanskriti Samvardhana goal to be the global Samvardhana of Sanskriti. But the power, the engine, the nuclear power has to be India. Why? Because it is the Deva Bhumi. It is the Bhumi where the gods are still present. And in our Sri Vidya tradition, when we do Anushtana, that is the retreat, when we do Anushtana, we have to do the Homa in India because it is the Deva Bhumi. Our Guru clearly said it. You cannot do the Dashamsha Homa, the 1/10 of your japa. You cannot do that in Switzerland. You cannot do that in UK. This is not the Punya Bhumi. You have to do it in India. You can do your japa in Switzerland and UK, but the Homa has to be done in Kanchipuram or in Himalayas. So don't forget where the Devas are present. Originally, they are in Bharat. Then, India is also the place of the scholars. It is the place where I will send Amar and I will maybe join him, because my best friend, Acharya Siddhartha Krishna, who, Sampadananda ji, he is of your level in grammar. He's exactly of your level. I hope you will be in touch with him sometime. He is in Rishikesh and in Kullu, Himachal Pradesh. One day I will take Amar there to properly learn Ashtadhyayi with Kashika and really, really go into, hardcore grammar. Because the father is the second guru after the mother. The father is not the third guru. It is quite difficult in Europe to train a boy after the age of 12, 13 when the puberty comes. Now he's 6. I can train him. But after 12, 13, it becomes very difficult to be the guru. Very difficult. Because you see, Europe trains children to rebel against their parents. So there's always this virodha, this fight between children and parents after the age of 13 in Europe. This is related to Christian culture, which is still present in the psychology of the people, because in Christian culture, you leave your parents. You know, in the Old Testament, it says, you leave your parents and you go. So this is still ingrained in European culture. And even when they're no longer Christians, it is still there. So it's very sad. And this is ingrained in children also at schools. You know, they become very individualistic, very selfish, which you do not have in India. So when Amar is at a certain age, I will take him to India. And in Kullu, we will have a little Gurukula there. And Siddhartha will be teaching them proper Paninian Sanskrit. I'm going to finish soon, but I'm still explaining why India is the nuclear engine of this global Sanskriti Samvardhana. Because India has the scholars, India has the devas, India has the tirthasthanas, the pure places of pilgrimage, which purify the mind. Without going to tirthasthanas, you cannot become pure. Only if you are some great yogi from Purva Janma, of course, then maybe you can live in America and suddenly you become pure, but that is very rare. And then India is also the land of the sacred nadis. As the Nadi Sukta of the Rig Veda tells us, it is the land of Yamuna, it is the land of Saraswati, it is the land of Ganga. And if you do not take bath in those rivers once in a while, you will not remain pure in the sense of uplifted. Ganga is not just the external Ganga. Ganga is also the Sushumna Nadi, the inner Nadi that passes from the heart to the top of the head, and from which the yogi leaves the body. Shatam chaikacha hridayasya nadyah tasam urdhvanam abhimisritaika tayordhvamayan namritatvamichan vishwang anya utkramani bhavanti. It is only through that Nadi, Sushumna, you have to leave the body. If you do not leave through that Nadi, you are going to be reborn in samsara. And then again, we have to go to the doctor to see if we can keep our hair for some few more years, isn't it, Sampadananda? I'm just joking. So we have to come back again and again. Now I will finish. You see why India is the engine of all this. Yes, but it has to be global. Thank you very much. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you.
Dhanyavad. Thank you so much, Acharya Vidyabhaskarji. It was really nice to have you reiterate the piety of India and her magnanimity. And it's really nice that it was on this day. While we come to the end of today, we cannot stop after having wished for Ano Bhadra Kritavantu Vishwataha. We need to end, and I request the coordinator of SSASP, Shri Dr. Vikas Gokhale, to kindly give the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Ruchita. At the outset, let me thank Shri Dilip Karambelkar, the president of our Pratishthan, and Dr. Kala Acharya, the executive president of this Pratishthan, to give me this opportunity for proposing a vote of thanks. Today is really a historic day in Indian cultural history. At the outset, let me thank Rajesh Iyer, who has very beautifully sung the Vedic mantras and prepare the congenial atmosphere, a very sattvic atmosphere for this function. And in that sattvic atmosphere, a congenial atmosphere, the whole program was conducted very nicely. This is a beautiful cultural exchange which is witnessed by Dr. Laura, Professor Srinivas Varkhedi, Gopal Bandhu Mishra, and Rajashekhar Pillai, who have given their consent for collaboration. My sincere thanks to all these personalities who has honored our invitation and witnessed the inaugural function. Your blessings and guidance has encouraged us on our endeavor. My sincere thanks to today's guest of honor, Dr. Sampadananda Mishra, who spoke very eloquently on the need and relevance of Sanskrit studies for the torchbearer of Bharatiya Sanskriti in various fields. Your guidance, sir, in this inaugural function is really encouraging for all of us. As rightly said by you, this is a collective effort which will create definitely a collective consciousness as a force which will spread the message of Indian culture all over the globe. Sir, you have rightly said that the spiritualism is the base for Indian culture, and every aspect of our culture has emerged from our spiritual wisdom. And this Pratishthan will keep this essence in mind and progress with your blessings. The real torchbearers, according to you, are our ancient sages and rishis. And on this platform, I will assure you that we'll try our level best to go step further on the path paved by our ancient torchbearers. Thank you very much, sir, for your blessings and really eloquent speech, which encourages all of us. And now I would like to propose a hearty vote of thanks to today's president of event, Acharya Vidya Bhaskar, who really blessed all of us and sow a seed of this small organization with his presence. We all are overwhelmed, sir, with your presence. In fact, I do not have any words to express my gratitude and thanks. The words are becoming very short. As rightly said, a very beautiful explanation given by you, sir, about the ocean of milk, Akshir Sagar. A very beautifully you have talked about the subtle darpa. Really, thank you very much, because everybody who is working very hard, they develop a very subtle darpa, very subtle ego, which is, to be very frank, not recognizable. Let me tell you very frankly, and you are the one who has really shown us that, find out that subtlest darpa in you and come out. But sir, let me tell you very frankly that our whole culture is based on Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And so we will definitely not forget this essence of our base, and will definitely seek guidance all the time from you. Thank you very much from the root of my heart, and really beautiful and eloquent speech you have given. I really thank very much for that. Last but not the least, on behalf of Pratishthan, I propose a hearty vote of thanks to all the people who participated in this inaugural function. Thank you all once again from the root of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to mention the program that is ensuing in the coming days. So I request all of you to kindly note, the invites will go, of course, but you can continue to use the recurring link which we've been having, the one which you used to join today. So this is the program that we have for this week, and I am sure all of us will be continuing to be on this and inviting our friends and others as well. Our website is ssasp.in. Please do visit it, and everyone, as we have said, is welcome to contribute to it in a very academic and any other manner which will add value to it. So do get in touch with us on the website. Our email ID is vmfsanskriti@gmail.com. So I hope we will all meet again tomorrow at the same time. And we will be listening to Dr. Laura Yerekeshava tomorrow. So I request all of you to kindly join us tomorrow, same place, same time. We are live on Facebook as well. Thank you very much. Dhanyavada. Namo Namaha. Thank you. So
Namo Namaha to all of you.
Thank you.
Namo Namaha.
I request Atharva, you could end the meeting for all of us. So
Yes.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.